Mrs. McGee.
Yes, Kenneth, what is it?
How long do I have to stay after school?
Cheer up. You've got less than 2 minutes left. And while we're sitting here, Kenneth, I'd like to ask you a few questions. Do you enjoy the subject of history?
Yes.
And do you find my classes interesting and maybe even sometimes stimulating?
Yes.
And are you answering in the affirmative because I'm asking the questions?
Yes.
Has anyone ever told you that talking to you is like taking a multiple choice test?
Yes.
You try my patience, Kenneth. You really try my patience.
Thank you.
Your time's up. You can go home now. But in future, Kenneth, I want you to take every single assignment I give you seriously and do the very best job you can. Success in life depends on a good education.
Not always.
I beg your pardon?
That's not what my brother says.
What does your brother say?
My brother says, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
I see. And who does your brother know?
Nobody. That's why he doesn't have a job.
Go home, Kenneth.
I'll do better next time I have a paper to write.
Guess what? Next time is now. I want you to redo your paper tonight on Valley Forge and have it on my desk first thing in the morning.
I should get my mouth shut. Hi, Dr.
Don't run in the hall, Kenneth. Sorry about that, Doctor. How nice to see you.
Thank you.
Come right in and sit down. Anywhere.
Thank you.
Now then, you telephoned and you want to talk about Rudy?
Yes, I wanted to talk about Rudy because she's very, very saddened by the fact that she says that her friends are not talking to her, that they hate her. I tried to explain life and people to her, but it just seems to have, things have just gotten worse.
And let me ask you something. Did you talk to Mrs. Huxtable before you gave Rudy all this splendid advice? She's out of town, isn't she? Well, I remember when you came to see me about Vanessa, Mrs. Huxtable was out of town. And I remember when you came to see me about Denise, Mrs. Huxtable was out of town. So I just assumed that when your wife is away, you get a bit bamboozled by those daughters of yours.
But what about this experience with Rudy?
Oh, Dr. Huxtable, children Rudy's age behave very strangely, I'm afraid, at times. I mean, one day they're best friends, and then the next day they're not speaking to one another, and for no apparent reason. Now, you see, Rudy may be in big trouble today, but I will bet you any amount of money that in a couple of weeks she'll be the most popular girl in this class. So, if you'll take my advice, you'll just step back, let it pass.
Thank you.
Before you go, could I have another few minutes of your time, Dr. Huxtable? You probably don't know, but I gave the children a paper to write on Valley Forge, and I wanted to read you a few of them, and then talk to you about Rudy's. Let me see. Oh, yes. Here's Kenneth's paper. You know Kenny.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of potential. Difficult, but a lot of potential. The men from Valley Forge fought in a war. Many died. They did not have food and supplies. I would write more, but I don't have to. It's all in my history book. And now, this is Amy's paper. Amy is a hard worker, bright girl. George Washington and his men spent the winter in Valley Forge. It was in 1777. It was cold. They had very little supplies, but they were brave. They lasted until spring. Now, I'll read you a few lines of Rudy's paper. Honestly, I was just amazed. She has an enormous grasp of history. George Washington and his men faced hardship and sacrifice in pursuit of a dream called America. She refers to the harrowing campaign of 1777. The insurmountable obstacles threatening ultimate success. And my absolute favorite, the ubiquitous melancholy that descended on the downtrodden warriors. It's just terrific, isn't it? I mean, it gets better every time I read. I think Rudy should go straight to college.
She's a very bright girl.
Only one problem. You'd have to go with her.
I beg your pardon?
When Mrs. Huxtable helps Rudy with the paper, her 11-year-old capabilities come shining through. And when you help her with her paper, I get ubiquitous melancholy and downtrodden warriors. When is Mrs. Huxtable coming home? Thank God.
Well, thank you. I'll be going now.
Before you go, Dr. Huxtable, I want you to go to the blackboard and write 100 times, "I will not do my child's homework for her."
That is funny.
I'm not joking. Start writing.
I'm not in your class.
You walk into this room, you're mine. Start writing. Don't write big. I'm on to that one. Dr. Huxtable?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you walk me to my car?
Might be a harrowing experience.
Well, if you don't run into any insurmountable obstacles, I'm sure that we'll have ultimate success.